Hello and welcome to the Rewind Show. Hashtag 60. We're just standing keys over here. That's how live we are. But good morning. You are with Steve Brown and Brent Peters. And not the best of starts, if I may say so. Hold on. But what about if I put this? I'm going to press this button here because I didn't set it up right. Silly me. But here we go. Let's do this, Steve. Let's do this. So this by magic. Ta-da! There we are. So welcome to the Rewind Show. Hashtag 60. Steve Brown and Brent Peters. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? Feels like afternoon.
I tell you, it's all gone.
Under the collar.
I'm chasing my tail this morning, are you?
100%.
Deborah's running around like a, headless chicken.
Before we start, the reason why, and we've had an early start, is and our condolences go out. Nicky Taylor, one of our former players, his brother sadly passed away last week, and it's the funeral today, and they're coming back here after. So it's all hands to the pump, trying to get everything ready. And but our condolences go out to Nicky Taylor and his family at this sad time.
Yeah, so it is all busy this morning. Now Deborah's away to right hand side in the kitchen getting all the buffet ready. So. It's all go. What kind of week you had, mate?
Hectic, like always, and I mean hectic.
What have you been up to?
So Monday we were after the weekend, and you know what it's like at weekend. We were busy on Saturday because we were at home. We're thankful and grateful for that. That went with the bar and everything went well into the night, celebrating, and some people stayed behind.
Good.
And then on Sunday we had it's a day of football now. The football season started, so Sunday we have as it happened on last Sunday, I think it was, the under 17s were at home in the morning first thing, and that was quickly followed by the
under 21s were in action, weren't they, in the afternoon?
Under 21s in the afternoon. So again, all hands to the pump. Well, when I say all hands to the pump, me and Deborah's hands to the pump. You know, Deborah doing the kitchen, I had to get the bar sorted out, so it's quite hectic. And then on Monday, you get up on a Monday and you've got to do all your reconciling from the weekend.
Yeah.
And by the time you've done that and balanced everything and sorted everything out and kind of done your paperwork, as you know that you do percentage of it and I've got to do a percentage of it after, before you know where you are, it's time to go home.
Yeah. And then you're going into Tuesday and then Wednesday.
And then Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah, it's been, it's always the same, you know. And then what day were it? Wednesday, I went on the pitch and spent quite a bit of time on it and cut the grass and everything there. We've had a plumber on site, because we had a bit of a couple of issues over in the changing rooms. So thankfully we've had a plumber on site that's sorted everything out over there. Done a little bit of work over here, so so it's all busy.
Yeah. You said the under 21s were playing Sunday. We don't mention the other sides that much on the show, but they've done really well. They've got off to a good start with. I know Andy Pillin and Darren Lloyd are running the 21s this year. They've had 3 games and 3 wins. It's been good for them. Yeah,
but let me explain. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from anybody here.
I know what you're going to say.
They're not. When you say running. Listen, this football club at training last night. If you had Dave Felgate on here, he'd say it's too many. But when I explained to Dave Felgate, right, the numbers, it's not too many because we've got the 21s, the 23s, and the first team all training together
on the same night.
Now, there is enough coaches down there to pull the fingers out and, get a percentage. So the 21s should be taken as a group and doing the work that they need to do with the 21s. The 23s should be doing likewise, and we take the first team squad.
Yeah.
That is exactly what should be happening. Right? Now, I'm not... obviously that hasn't been happening, but everybody is training. We're down there and we're training together, so there's a vast numbers. When it comes to game day, again, and this is what I'm, without taking anything away from anybody, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the most important, the team, it's great to have all the teams winning. It's fantastic because that's what, like just shows that the club is going in the right direction. But it also shows that we've got an abundance of talented players within the setup of the club. Some are not ready yet for first team, but the aim and their aspirations initially is to aim to get in the first team. When they're in the first team, their aim should then be to stay in the first team and then progress to whatever level, wherever they can go or whatever level they can handle. It's all about development because we're a very, very young group of players at the club through all the groups. Even the 23s aren't 23s. The 23s, the under 23s, basically, the majority of them all qualify for the under 21s.
Yeah.
So if we play a team that's actually of the age of 22, because a lot of our lads are only at 19 and 18, even though they qualify and they will get in, there's a vast difference in their ages. But in terms of ability and technical ability, in some cases, the streets ahead of those players that are like 19 and 20. Or 22. The streets ahead of them. So, and again, without taking anything away, Darryl and Andy Pilling take charge, but the group is actually it's discussed.
It's under one umbrella.
It's kind of discussed with myself what players they can take and what players they can have.
Yeah,
and that happens every week. So the Bakeup Borough Football Club players, it's not like you've got a coach or two coaches that have got a group and they're isolated away from everybody else and they're deciding to pick the team and this is the team and we're drilling them and we're playing this and like win at all costs. It's not like that, It's all discussed.
But it is that one club mentality.
One club mentality.
Where you're training and the under 21s are training with the 23s and the 23s. Everyone's in, so they can see that pathway and they can see where the standard is, what they need to reach to be in the first team.
The good thing about it is I go around overseeing, so I've got an opportunity to see what there is
and pluck players
and have a look and pluck them out and put them, with us or put them into the squad and see. And equally, it's like tonight, the 23s are playing tonight, and
that's at Darwin, isn't it?
That's at Darwin, but they'll be included in that 23s. You see, Nigel will pick his team. I don't get involved in that, but I get involved in players that I will say to him that need to be.
They need minutes.
His group.
Yeah.
So he's got players tonight that I've basically said to him, these players you need to be including these players. So when I say that, he includes them.
Yeah.
But that has a knock-on effect because to include them players, he's got to leave players out. So when he leaves players out, what should be happening is those players to get the game time should be readily available to play for the 21s.
Yeah.
And, if they take somebody's place in the 21s, then, that's the bottom rung of the ladder, basically. So usually the players that they will...
But hopefully it becomes a rotation system.
Yeah.
In some shape or form.
Yeah, exactly. So when people are turning around and saying, Andy Pilling and the team at the top of the league, they've won 3 out of 3. Well, yeah, they've won 3 out of 3, and it's good. But what team we're on first week 1 isn't necessarily.
Backhanded compliment from Brent.
I'm telling the truth. What do you want? I don't bullshit. Do you want me to bullshit?
No, I don't want you to bullshit.
I tell them, let's have it right. At the end of the day, that's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
And that's it. So,
but a good start anyway. 3 games, like you say, 3 and 3.
But it's not about. And the other thing is, let's get it one thing straight here as well. It's not about. I keep saying it. It's not about. It's about the development. It's not about winning. I'd sooner, in a lot of ways, a team would get. If we were trying to encourage a player, like say for instance, let's say we're encouraging a goalkeeper to play out from the back and use his feet. which seems to be the norm in modern day football, right? It might be that you've got a goalkeeper in that's trying to use his feet and we're encouraging him, and he might keep making mistakes, and the mistakes will lead to goals. But for him to develop as a goalkeeper, we need to make him keep doing it and doing it till eventually he gets better at it. And that's what it's all about, really.
We spoke about that a couple of weeks back, and you got a couple of decent comments back. I know there were a couple of coaches and a couple of guys who were like retweeting, saying that, it's great because a lot of clubs do look to gain the results. Then that's more important than the actual development. It is all about development, isn't it? And that's creating that pathway.
That's what it is. The young lads, they're
all individuals.
In a lot of cases, a lot of these lads that are here haven't played. They haven't even kicked a ball at the North West Counties level.
No.
I mean, I had a message last week of a player that played in the 23s, 21s, sorry, on Sunday, and I watched the game. I quite enjoyed the game. And the player in question texts me and he says, is this the norm every week in the 21s? And I went, I don't know what you mean. And he went, well, is it always this physical? Right? And I went straight away, my answer to that were
10 levels up, mate.
I said, listen,
this is nothing.
Exactly. I said, I didn't have a problem with that game, watching that game. It was physical, but it needs to be physical.
You're going to come up against those
because
sides.
If you want to be in the first team, the North West Counties League is a physical league. You have to stand up and be counted in the North West Counties, and if you can't stand up and be counted and win your battles, then I'm afraid you're not for the North West Counties League.
I'm going to say, I know we're biased, but at step 5 and 6, we're probably, I would say, the best 5 and 6 in the country. It proves that way with what happens in the Vase usually year on year out, where a lot of the teams are reaching the semis and finals.
Well, the North West Counties as a league is a physical. It's a physical. I've been in it a long time, and I know. I'm telling you, it's never been any different. It's physical. If you have a team of talented lads that are all footballers that will play, you notice, and I've seen it so many times, where a team will hit the ground running when all the surfaces are true and you're playing on 3G where the surface is you can knock it about and you play and you've got dynamic players and I've seen it, and they fire to the top of the league, but they don't sustain it because as soon as it comes to winter and the pitches get heavier and then teams are playing and being competitive
against, it's a different kind of performance.
They go away. They go hiding. Now you've got to. I mean, what we try and do at Bake Up is get an happy medium. It's trying to get a balance. But the point I'm trying to make here is when you get an under in this instance. I mean, the player in question will also play tonight for the 20. This is what I'm saying about an under. You can play in the under 21s and he qualifies, but he also qualifies for the 23s.
Yes.
So the player in question will play for the 23s tonight. But he asked and posed the question, and I kind of like were watching the game on Sunday, and it was quite. I wouldn't say it was competitive.
Yeah.
The opposition was really out to spoil, and more, you've just hit the nail on the head. When Bake Up, they look at the league table and think, well, we're going to Bake Up today. Bake Up is at top of the league in the under 21. So straight away, they've gone out and they've gone to work hard against us and stop us from playing. And, at times they might have overstepped the mark in certain things, but when they have overstepped the mark, you hope that the officials will clamp down on it. Right, but on the other hand, he also told me a situation where the lad's gone, because in the first few minutes, the player in question has nutmegged one of their players.
Oh, well.
And the next thing he's got, I'm going to break your effing legs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but he's not going to break your effing legs. But you're not going to take the pee out
but
of
the
it
chances
again.
are he's going to come through you next time he sees you.
Exactly.
You're going to get a calling card, aren't you?
Exactly. So it's all part and parcel. You've got to grow a set of pair up.
But that I watched the first half and that on Sunday. Yes, it was a little bit tasty and physical, but there's about another 5 layers to that going up if you're going to make the actual first team.
Correct.
So they're going to get blooded, aren't they?
So it's all about development. It's not about, yes, it's the icing on the cake if you win. And I say that even through our junior teams. You know, there's one team in particular that's probably now our under 14s, and I watched them play, and they're very, very good.
Yeah.
They're exciting, but they're all in development. And I mean, used to say that in another 4 years, some of them players, they're peaking now and doing well now. In 4 years' time, they might not, because everybody's bodies changes.
Yeah.
You know, you don't. So yeah, they've got to enjoy the football, but equally, sooner rather than later, we've got to educate them into the right ways of receiving a ball and passing a ball, and you know, but then going out and enjoying the game. It's all about enjoyment, but in that enjoyment, there's got to be discipline. And as they go older and step up, that situation gets more intense and more, you know, scrutinised. And that's what I'm saying. You know, if I like a centre midfield player playing in the 23s, then, and you see him do something that you wouldn't expect in your first team to happen, then he's got to be coached and told and said, don't do that. You know, I watched the other week, there was they conceded a goal, and what happened were the right back played an inside ball blind. Yeah. He gave the ball away. So straight away, I've at the end of the game.
Red flag.
Well, no, at the end of the game, I've explained to him, because that's what you've got to do. Yeah. But if nobody explains to him, he might do that again, and again, and again. But it's wrong.
And the reasons why he shouldn't be doing that.
Correct. So it's, you know, that's what it is. Yeah. So while we've got these age groups playing football, these age groups, and yeah, of course they want to win games of football, but it's all about the personal development individually. Some of that under 23 team will not make it to the first team. But it doesn't mean to say they're not good players, but some will make it to the first team, and some will probably progress to go on in the football careers.
Yeah.
You can see it, but they've still got to be educated.
Excellent. If you want to catch the 23s, they're in action tonight. Darwin, is it 7:45?
Yes.
So get yourself down to the Anchor Ground for 23s tonight. Let's go back to last Saturday. An excellent team performance against possibly, I would say, the best side I've seen play for a few seasons. Am I saying too much there, or would you agree?
100%. Stockport, let me tell you.
They were well done.
In my opinion, they're the best side by a country mile we've played this season, in terms of their organisation, their ability, their player interchanging on a pitch, the movement, the craft, everything about them. And it doesn't surprise me that you look at their stats, they haven't lost a game this season, apart from our game. They're up there, they're challenging at the top, the second. I think they might be top now because they played on.
They had a game in hand.
They've been scoring 3s, 4s most games.
I think I looked at the stat. I think there were about 35 goals that they've scored so far, and they don't concede many.
No, and for me, the team last season that picked the baton and were the flag bearers for the North West Counties, basically from kicking a season, from the season kicking off to the end of the season, were Bury. But they were better than Bury in my eyes.
Yeah,
a lot better than Bury. A lot better.
I think I was really impressed with their overall kind of organisation, the way they were drilled. The first 20 minutes, Brent, I could see. I looked across and you were scratching your head because they were tearing us to bits.
Well, I wouldn't say I was scratching. We weren't scratching. I won't be scratching my head anyway because it hurts because I've no hair to protect it.
But I think you must have been a little bit concerned.
I weren't concerned because the way. No. I weren't really concerned because that's the wrong word. Yeah, they had a lot of the ball and they had they had the, excuse the terminology, they had the all three defenders had the balls, excuse the terminology, to step in and continue to put. So every player on that pitch, apart from the goalkeeper, were all interacting in play.
Yeah.
Very seldom you get that. Certainly at our level, very seldom you'll get that. Right? You'll get it at, you know.
Is that experienced players?
Yeah, experienced and well drilled side. I mean, listen. I told you before, they connected to Stockport County.
Yeah.
Dave asked the question because he knew their player coach, the lad who played number 4.
Turnbull, the player manager.
Yeah, player manager. He had conversations with him. So, you know, it's in name Stockport Town, but they are kind of, there were some good experienced lads
They were
in that team. And for me, yeah, in the first 10, 15 minutes, it was like, wow. We got into shape, we were doing all right, but we didn't touch the ball. We were just in shape. You know, they didn't break us down, they didn't cause us any problems. They weren't causing us problems. We were in shape. But they were asking all the questions. And it were a case of we had to be disciplined and we had to try and get a foothold in the game, because it couldn't. The longer it would have gone on, where there were the three, the guys at the back, where they were interacting, stepping in, all of them, creating problems. The longer that were going on, it were only a matter of time before they would have brought the barriers down.
Yeah,
they would have done, and we could see that from the bench. But we kind of made, because it was easy from our side, from the side that I were on, it was easy to say to our left back, Mason was on our side, and I given Mason an instruction probably on, I'd say about 15 minutes. I gave Mason an instruction to do something. It was difficult to get the same instruction to the opposite side, because obviously you're shouting across a pitch, but Mason was on our side, so it was easy to get the instruction to Mason, which actually freed a player up. And once we did it, and the player it freed up managed to get on the ball,
we saw a different game.
And straight away they thought, we're in for a game.
Yeah.
And straight away they were in for a game. And I've got to give some mounting credit to every one of them players on that pitch, because usually I'm stood in the technical area, kind of just making sure they were all attention to detail.
Sat in your corner.
Sat in the corner. But I would prance in the technical area for 90 minutes because I kept watching what they were doing and making sure we were all focused, because what they were clever at, and if you weren't focused in what you were doing, if you kind of switched off for 1 second, they were interacting that much, and interchanging that much, that what were happening is there'd be a man would appear off the blind side.
So when they were changing, you as a management team, you had to change as well.
We didn't change. We just made sure they stayed with him.
And they stayed focused. Yeah,
that's the word, focused, and staying with him. And they tried everything. Do you know what? They tried. They moved the shape. They were trying.
They ran out of ideas.
They ran out of ideas. They did, because we. And I've said it before. When you're up against astute coaches in that technical area, right? You've got to be switched on, and it's like a game of cat and mouse, because because if we switch off in the technical area, me and Dave, right, or one of us, and we miss something, and it's not relayed to the players, and the players switch off, bang, before you know where you are, they're in, and they're scoring. I mean, it's no wonder they're ripping the asses off teams. They are. Seriously. And it's no wonder.
Their top three have scored at least 30 goals between them.
Impressive. I was well impressed. But I was well impressed, but I were equally more impressed with my lads.
Yeah, the
our lads.
reaction you got.
Because they had to be focused, and they did. I bet they went home on Saturday night and they must have been
went to bed at 9 o'clock.
Listen, they must have been, because there was not only the physicality that we needed to stay with them and, you know, burn a lot of energy up to be concentrated and stay with them. It's the concentration levels as well. They had to be fully concentrated, because the minute they weren't, the minute they would have. I mean, there was a situation in the first half. Let's not beat about the bush. The lad who had number 7 on in the first half, when
Foley. He's called Foley.
Right.
Yeah.
So when Liam pulled that save off at this end, at the clubhouse end, it was because 7 appeared. He lost his man marker, right, and he drifted as though, so he kind of didn't get himself involved, and then all of a sudden he picked the ball up on the blind side of play, picked the ball up, and then drove with it, and his marker was nowhere to be seen at this point, and then if you remember, he's got his shot off, and the keeper were kind of like wrong foot, but he got a good hand to it and
just parried
it away. That was really the only opportunity I could really think about. But that was a warning sign, and that's when I'm kind of like, I know it got frustrating to some of them at times, because I'm demanding you do it. You have to do it.
Explain to me you'll be able to explain to me what the number 3 was doing for them, because he wasn't a fullback. Colligan, I think he was number 3. He was coming inside, and he was almost like a free agent. What was he doing?
Well, yeah, he were a fullback, but he had a license to come inside. Didn't he? So obviously he's coming across the pitch, and he's then so kind of what he's to throwing a curveball at us in a way, because the person that should be kind of dealing with him, right, isn't dealing with him, because it'd mean him having to go into a territory.
He's going to get pulled all over.
He's going to get pulled all over. But that didn't happen. We just made it aware. This is why I'm saying when we spoke to kind of Mason on our side, it triggered. I can't explain it fully, because
you give things away.
I'll give things away. But it triggered, and it was no surprise what it triggered. The player I'm referring to, it's no surprise that he was, for me, I know there were some great performances, but for me, the player it triggered, I thought was exceptional on the day, right? Which was Kyle Siddle.
And he caused them some problems.
He caused them endless problems. But at the start, he did, till we got till we kind of, me and Dave focused and weighed up what was happening, and we had to do something that was slightly away from what we normally would do.
Yeah.
Slightly away, we tweaked something, but that one tweak kind of unlocked.
It freed him up.
And by freeing him up, it caused them a few more problems that they had to try and deal with.
Yeah, a lot of their attacking then turned into a kind of attack, but also defending.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a game of cat and mouse, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. All the time, all the game. And it ended up at the end, when it were latter parts of the game, really, they were just running out of ideas.
They were just hitting a long diagonal.
Hitting diagonals and trying to get in that way. They tried everything. And I've got to I'm sat here and I can't give them lads enough credit on that pitch, because they were
for carrying out what was expected of
100%. I mean, there were a time where we got frustrated. We all got a bit frustrated. I mean, obviously, the management team are getting frustrated because the kind of, well, they're changing it. They've changed this. They've done that. They've dropped him in there now, and they've changed his shape, and they've gone that shape. Right? Well, get it sorted. You know, they know what they've got to do. But sometimes what they try to do, these teams are clever. So if you're playing, let's take this instance, right? So let's say you're a kind of central midfield player that's playing central. If you play all the time in your zone and play central, then you're not really asking questions, are you? You're playing in your zone, so you might. But if you all of a sudden, from central, move out to let's say, the wide right, so it's like you're in a winger position, and then all of a sudden, from that being in a winger position,
you've switched.
A defender drops into the position you've left and vacated at centre of midfield, then does our centre of midfield doesn't know whether to twist a stick because he doesn't know, hang on, my man's now gone in a wide position, he's over there. But the fullback who would mark the wide area has already got he's already having to pick a man up because we're trying to free a forward, if you get where I'm coming from. So he doesn't know whether to go over there and actually mark him or stay in his zone and mark the 4 that stepped in. So all this is, but if he stays with 4 that stepped in, his man, 7, is a free because he won't stay out that wide too long.
No.
He'll drift back in, and then he'll drift back in, and nobody will be picking him up.
No.
And then the argument will be then,
Whose man were in?
Whose man were in? And then they'll turn around and say, well, I had 4.
Yeah.
Well, who's had 7? Because 7's come off that line.
Yeah. Totally free and unmarked.
You get that?
Yeah.
But they were doing it all over the pitch.
Yeah.
All over.
For the entire game.
For the entire game. And that's why at one time I've had to be like really strict with him and saying, I'm telling you now, you do not switch off, because if you switch off for 1 minute and you go, I'm telling you now, we lose this game.
They'll have us. Yeah.
We'll lose this game. And to be fair, listen, I can't give him enough.
And as you say, it's no surprise that Stockport Town are a force to be reckoned with.
That's it. And it was no surprise on Monday. They played us, they've gone out the Vase on the Saturday, and they've had a game with us. And then they've gone and played, I don't know.
Give someone a good idea.
On the Monday.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I were well and truly impressed with everything about them. But to get a team to be able to execute the way they were executing, you've got to work with them. Yeah. You know, all the time. They were drilled, they were organised. I'm telling you that I'll be amazed.
And then the goal, Brent, in stoppage time. You know, we kept on knocking on the door.
Well, again,
brilliant link-up play.
Again, look, and I'm going to say it on here, and I've said it before. It done half line me up. Look, me and Dave, we've been around the game a long time, and one of the things that I think a manager, where he steps out of his comfort zone, is when he can see a player. So a player can come to you and say, I play up front. But you look at his attributes, you look what he's about. Sometimes as a manager, you look at him and think, yeah, he can play up front, yeah, he can do that. But you know what? I think he can give us something else in midfield.
Yeah.
And then when you kind of have a word with him, it comes out, well, I have played in midfield before, but it was only at amateur level or whatever. So what you do, and you think, you know what, I see it, right? So what would be my ideal midfield player? I think I've talked about this before. What would be my ideal midfield player? Ideal all-round midfield player. This is how I would see my all-round midfield player. The all-round midfield player is a player that is competitive, that will compete in there, that's not frightened to shirk, take responsibility, and will not shirk a challenge, and be physical and go in there and challenge and compete. That, and then when he wins the ball, ideally, it is also somebody that's technically very, very good on the ball. This is your all-round one.
Yeah.
Technically very good, that's got vision, that can use the ball intelligently well, right? Or a player that can actually, from a midfield area, when he's got the ball, that can actually, you know, drive at somebody and create something from a deeper position, right?
Hurt defences.
Now that is how I look at it. And when I see players that we've got, don't forget, I'm watching our players training week in, week out, and I'm seeing them in games, and I'm seeing them what they're like, and I'm seeing the characters. And as a manager, sometimes I'm thinking, you know what, I see him, he could do a job there. Yeah. And this is what I'm coming to. So the past, so again, on Saturday, I'll give you this one, right? So Callum Hewitt had been injured. As you know, he came off in the game against Atherton. So he comes off. So he said, I'm going to go and see the physio. So he went to see the physio. So he came back. The physio actually told him, and he's as honest as the day is long. Probably too honest, but I like the honesty. Yeah. So he came back from the physio on the Thursday and arrived at training. As he arrives at training, this is prior to the Vase game, as he arrives at training, he turns round and he said, I said, how have you gone on with Ian today? And he said, Ian has told me to do this, told me to do that, but he's also told me I shouldn't play. Right? He's telling me this. He said, but sod that, it's the Vase, I'm not missing that. Well,
you're thinking you bloody are, lad.
I'll be the decider of that.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah. Because you don't want him playing the Vase and then being out for 4 or 5
exactly.
years.
And not only that, not being able to execute his responsibilities 100%.
Yeah.
Because he's not 100%.
You're not risking it.
But this is what he's saying to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't argue or anything. I just said, all right, okay, yeah. And off you pop and get into training. And so I'm obviously watching. Yeah. But I'm thinking he ain't playing.
Yeah.
Right?
If my physio's telling me you're not fit, you're not fit.
He's not playing. But he's honest. Like I said, he's honest. And he come and said that to me. Some players wouldn't have said that. But I'd have found out off him anyway because I'd have rang Ian up and said,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So anyway, he said this. So absolutely no chance he was going to start on Saturday against Stockport, right? He were on the bench. So now on the bench, we've got Callum Hewitt, who's an excellent midfield player, competitor, works hard, up and down, great engine, not a problem. But he's told me what the physio said.
Yeah.
So he's on the bench.
So he's the last resort.
Correct. He's on the bench. And we've got Aidan Housey, another midfield player coming back from the thing, but totally different to Callum.
Yeah.
Because Aidan is a kind of a ball player. He keeps it going nice and tidy, keeps play ticking over and keeps play going, right? So different. So we've 2 midfield players on the bench. A simple substitution. So we then got it to the stage that we felt that Brad had worked hard and done really, really well in there and got in some good positions where he can. I've always said this, where he can hurt teams. So, but we felt that we needed a change in there, right? So. Easiest option would have been either Aidan Housey straight swap or put Callum Hewitt in. But did I do that? Again, no. What I did, and I've done it previously, I bring Kyle Siddall from his position, which is playing off the striker, and drop him into midfield. Right? So I drop him into midfield. And then that gave me the opportunity to bring another striker on by doing that. Yeah. So instead, if you look at the people who can play strikers, instead of having in theory 3 strikers on the pitch, now I've got 4 strikers on the pitch, but one of them's playing from the midfield area, right? So up here, that's what I'm doing. Now you'll get some people, what's he doing? What's up? Right, but that's what I've done, right? Simple as. Right, so I've got another striker on. That's opened the door for another striker. But one of the strikers has now dropped into midfield. But like I said, and you've seen it, when you see a player, and I'm not being funny, against a really good side, balls are coming out the air and he's taking it on his touch.
Yeah.
And it's sticking to his root like it's like glue sticking to his foot. And he's bringing it down and he's taking the absolute pilsner out and dropping his shoulder that way, going out that way. Then and then picking up, opening up and driving. Well, I'm sorry. Callum Hewitt ain't doing that. Aidan Housey ain't doing that. Oh. But this player did it in Cal Siddall. You get me?
Yeah.
So that's exactly the reason why I make decisions like I make.
And there's probably 2 players. The 2 players who teamed up to put Toby Wright in to score the goal are probably those 2 players who are the kind of players who can bring a ball out of the sky.
Yeah.
Because that goal was quality. Started with Kyle. He then hit Alex Mellor, slightly behind him, but Alex has the skill to be able to drag the ball out of his feet. And then he just played it perfect. He just rolled it into the path of Toby Wright for finishing.
And the finish from Toby were absolutely unbelievable because where he put that ball were probably the smallest gap that he could have put it, but he got it in there and the rest is history. It was fantastic and it were fantastic scenes at the end. But my point is as there's managers, and I'm not condemning. You're out there. You've got to make. Sometimes you've got to look at situations. I mean, it's 0-0. It's hanging on a knife edge. It's the game, but we wanted to win the game. So straight away, I've made that decision. I haven't put an Adiusi on who's a midfield, and he's a very good player. Let's get it right, but different. And I haven't put Callum Hewitt on, who's a very, very good player, but different. I've put equally another very, very good player on, who's equally more different.
Because I think what Turnbull did, because he took himself off, he was actually focusing on penalties. I think that's what he was doing. Because it got down to like injury time and he made the substitution. But we were still going for it. We wanted to get the game done and dusted.
Well, I have to hold my hand up here because
why?
Well, because
what do you think he said?
I said to Dave how long, and I walked over to the technical area to Dave, and this is exactly what I said, and this is exactly the reply I got. Because by this time we're going. So I've looked at the bench, and and Callum Hewitt is a penalty taker.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking,
he's not injured enough to take a penalty.
We need to get Callum on. This is what I'm thinking. It's going to penalties. This, how you have to say that. Yeah. It's going to penalties. This. So straight away, right? I've gone to Dave and I've gone. Listen, there's 3 minutes in there. There's 3 minutes left. We need to be getting Callum on, and because he's a penalty taker. Dave went, well, who are you going to take off? I went, whoever doesn't take penalties. That would be reply. So
what a question.
But no sooner had I said it.
Toby's hit it.
Bang, 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 bang. It's in the back of the net. So I went, that's put paid to that. We don't need penalties.
And there were a shower of beer behind here. I think everyone needed to come in for a fresh one because it was like a blooming waterfall behind this goal. But great scenes as well, and another good crowd, Brent.
Yeah, fantastic, and it was a fantastic ending to what were against an extremely good side. I know I'm saying it again, an extremely good side, a well-disciplined, focused performance from the lads. Again, it must have been, like I said, at times it got a bit. Frustrated with us all, all of us. And, I've gone in and said, listen, I'm telling you now, you cannot afford to switch off. You cannot afford to blinking pass your men on. You've got to be focused all the time because what they're doing, they're trying to blinking, that's what they're trying to do. They're setting traps and they'll come in and before you know where they are, it'll be bang, 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 and they'll be scoring goals because that's what they're about. But you know what? They never looked like they were going to score. The defence, I thought Joey Fallon and Ross Mallinson, that the heart of the defence did fantastically well. I thought they were assured by a good goalkeeping performance, although he didn't have a lot to do. But his ball's back to him, and his
one save that I think it was Ross Mallinson.
Oh yeah, but Ross going back to his own goal.
It's like you say, your goalkeeper might not do anything for 89 minutes, but he's got to be on his game.
Yeah.
And I think he took a ricochet off Ross's shin pad.
Yeah,
and he was going into bottom corner.
It were going in. It were. Yeah, he's done well with that. Liam were concentrated. I were extremely impressed with Liam on the day. We were really impressed with him. So they do. And then Lewis. Lewis Hewitt has come in. We know he's never let us down in every game that he's played, but he's a young lad, and like we've said, and I go back to the days when I was working with Walter Joyce. He used to say to me, "Brent, I'm telling you, we're young players. There's no grey areas," and he said, "And they'll be up and they'll be down."
What I like about him, I mentioned it before, is he started the season. I think he'd probably agree, wasn't the best. He then got rested. You sent him to play football for Whitworth, which he was dual register, is able to play. And he's come back and he's knuckled down and got his shirt back, which is all you can ask.
Exactly. But he's like kind of got to fight for it back again now because he's going away now for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But that's holidays in football, they don't mix.
But as long as they know that.
Well, that's right. Yeah, he's done well. He's done well, and then you have Mason. Mason's
hit the ground running.
He's doing well at the opposite side. So what can what can you say? And then you look at your. I've got as a manager. I mean, it's like having 16, 18, 20 sons. because everybody wants something and
Yeah.
everybody wants it. And like, if you think about it, like Sam's come to this club, Sam Fitton, and he said, I'm a experienced midfield player, which I know all about, and he's an experienced midfield player. We played in there at the start in pre-season, and he was like, he just wasn't ready because he'd been out for quite a while, and his fitness levels where they should be.
And he'd agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. But what happened were I had another vision with him, because I thought we were struggling at the time for a left back, and I thought, you know what, I think he could play left back, and we put him there. He got man of match. I think it was against Charlie.
Yeah.
So
and then he played again against FC St Helens. You played him there the week after.
Yeah. And then he obviously he's played at right back, but he kept coming to me and he said, my fitness levels are where they should be now, or I think I'm getting fitter. I want to really be playing in midfield, and I've gone like, well, listen, it's not, the opportunity's not there at the minute for you to play in midfield, But I'm being honest, the first chance the opportunity arises for you to go in midfield, I will give you my word that I will put you in midfield. And I have done, and I've given my word, and I've stuck by my word.
And there was a chance to do that. You did that, I believe, in the Padiham game.
Yeah.
Which were a decent showing against a quality side.
Yeah. And
then he played there at the weekend, and
exactly.
Well,
so
he's working really well alongside Gervs.
Yeah. So I've just got to try and be fair with it, but I wouldn't move it. A couple of weeks ago, in fact, he come and asked me after we just kept a clean sheet. See, that was pleasing as well against Stockport, is that we not only win the game, but we keep a clean sheet.
Against a team who was scoring goals for fun.
So, plus tick boxes. So, and then you look at the performance of, Michael Gervin. I thought Michael Gervin as a skipper, where he was quality.
Go back to his normal driving.
Yeah, I thought he was another one that was like, deserved a mention because he was good. Yeah. And then you've got Alex Mellors has come on and contributed when he's come on the pitch extremely well.
That's without question.
That's without question.
The work rate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've said it before. He needs to be in this. I've got to find a way to
getting him in this.
Getting him in. Because he just the way that he just links so good with Toby, and
Well, you were saying about his assists.
Well, his assists are second to none, but obviously the goals. But I think it's only him who's worried about the goals. Well, Dave's on to him all the time. You'll see him, and there's times the opportunity goes because he gets in great areas, and then he might take an extra touch, and then it's gone. And he don't get his shot off, and he should be believing in himself more to get his shots off. Yeah. And if he did, he'd score more. And that's something that Dave's been kind of onto him about. But listen,
quality.
It is what it is, and he contributed, and Toby did fantastic well, and then just showed what Toby's all about. He gets that opportunity just when. As Randy Van Warmer said in his record, just when I need you the most. The clock's winding down. The clock's winding down, and we needed a goal.
Well, I was just thankful that that Carl Siddle's pass to Alex Mellor was a little bit behind him, because what it actually did, it gave Toby a chance to get forward and get in a position, otherwise they'd have been left behind.
Yeah.
But his work rate has been fantastic.
Everything. The lads, listen. They were the lads on. Listen, you can't ask for more, can you?
No.
You're playing a top team. You score the goal to win the game, and you keep a clean sheet. And for a good 20 minutes, we probably didn't touch the ball.
No. I'm going to say for the first 20 minutes, I'm thinking, oh dear, what's going to happen here? But like you say, disciplined, professional performance. Next round, been drawn. We're away, I know they watch it. Our friends at Campion, going to Bradford.
Yeah, they've had a great start to the season.
Some new signings as well.
I think they won I don't know what sort of a competition it were earlier on this week or who they beat, but they put 7 past somebody, I think.
Because of West Ridings. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But listen, even last season when they were in our league, both games against Campion were tough games.
Yeah.
And Campion, even before they came into the North West Counties League, were a team that we always used to have a relationship with, where they'd always be on our list for a pre-season friendly.
Yeah.
And we used to go over to Yorkshire, and
they're a good bunch, aren't they?
They're a good set of people. Terrific. And I mean, they came here as well and supported. They came to the funeral of
to Mark.
They attended that. Yeah, it'll be great to see him and lock arms with him. But I'm telling you now, it's going to be the games last season were competitive and extremely competitive and difficult against them, and this will be no different. But listen, if you want to play in these national competitions and you want to progress in them,
you've got to play the best.
You've got to play the best, and every game there's not going to be. As soon as you get past the 2 qualifying rounds, when you get into the where we are now, and the next round and the next round and the next round, it just doesn't go any easier. It's going harder and harder and harder.
Yeah. So
it doesn't matter who you get in the draw. You're going to be up against some tasty teams. Good teams, organised teams. But listen, we're an organised team and we're a good team, and we've got some excellent players, and we've just got to be. We've just got to make sure that we're disciplined all the time in every game that we play, and we've set the benchmark, and we've just got to continue with that benchmark.
Yeah. Very quickly before we call it a day, Cleator Moor tomorrow, twice in a row.
Yeah,
a lot of travelling for them guys.
It is, yeah. But that's another. Like you say, I remember coming down here. I was suspended. We're in the first match of the season, or up on that gantry. I think
with me.
I think it ended
first and last.
I think it ended up. What were it?
2-2.
2-2. So it'd be a tough game. But yeah.
Excellent stuff. I think we'll call it a day then, because
we've got
a few visitors coming in. But always a pleasure, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, brilliant.